can. So we are adding and subtracting unlike denominators. Can you add and subtract things that have unlike denominators? No, it's not possible, okay? So we have to then find a common denominator, which hopefully you all know how to do if all I give you is a number. But now we have more than just numbers, okay? So what you're going to do is the first step I agree with. You're going to factor each denominator completely. Check, this is what you need to do, okay? Okay, all right, so let's go to example number 1. This, here, to be honest with you, this confuses me how she tries to explain it. I'm going to explain it to you how I think is easier, okay? If you don't get what I'm saying, then read that.
Good morning, Bearcats. This is your principal, Mr. Baker. Before Mr. Musket makes our morning announcements, I want to take a moment to address some of the recent behavior here at Klein High School. First, I want to say thank you to the.
So we are finding an LCD, the least common denominator, okay? So for example, if I had 1/4 plus 1/3, 1/4 plus 1/3, what would their least common denominator be? 12, okay? So we're doing the same thing, but with letters and adding and subtracting, okay? So their least common denominator would be 12 because I can multiply 4 times something to get to 12, and I can multiply 3 times something to get to 12. So example number 1, my denominators are 6x squared, which is basically a 6xx, and 9x, okay? So I need the least common denominator. No, it is 18 because I can multiply 6 times something to get to 18, and I can multiply 9 times something to get to 18. But it's not just 18. So 18 is my number. If the person on the left has 2 x's and the person on the right has 1 x, they have to have the same amount. You can never go smaller, okay? So how many x's will they both have to have? 2. So it'll be 18x squared. So example number 2, I have an x plus 1. That has to stay together. You can't separate x's and letters and numbers. And then I have an x minus 1. That has to stay together, okay? Since they have nothing in common, the new denominator is going to be x plus 1 and x minus 1 because they have to be the same denominator. So let's go look at the next one and it might make a little more sense. Before I can find a common denominator, you have to factor it out. So I have 5x squared plus 15x. What do they have? What's my GCF? 5 what? So this one right here has a 5x, and left over would be x plus 3. If I factor the right side, I will have x plus 3 times x plus 3. So looking at the left side, I have a 5x and an x plus 3. Looking at the right side, I have x plus 3 and x plus 3. I have to take these denominators in a way and combine them so they all have the same thing. So first of all, the left side has a 5x. Does the right side have a 5x? So I have to get the right side to have a 5x. So I know that 5x is going to be in my common denominator. They both have an x plus 3. So I'm going to keep an x plus 3. Does the left one have another x plus 3? So then I have to have another x plus 3 in my common denominator. So my common denominator has to have everything from the left side and everything from the right side has to be together. All right. So let's go try some. Yes, that's the common denominator. That's just the common denominator. Okay. So let's try to add and subtract. You have to find the least common denominator. What is my new denominator going to be? I have to multiply the numerator and denominator to make them the same. I'll explain this in math in just a minute. It'll make sense when we see it. And then we will add and subtract and we will simplify. This takes a lot of space. So if you write big, then while I sharpen my pencil, get out a sheet of paper to write on, or you can try to write on the back if there's nothing on the back. But it will take a lot of space. Okay, so I have 3 over x plus 1 plus 5 over x minus 1. I like to write it with a little bit of space. Okay. Are my denominators the same? No, so I have to make them the same. So my left side has an x plus 1, but what does it not have? An x minus 1. So I'm going to have to, let me move that over. I'm going to have to add that to my denominator on the left side. So this one started with an x plus 1, and it also has to have an x minus 1. Okay. So my right side has the x minus 1. What is it missing? What does it not have? The x plus 1. Now, I can't just add things to a denominator. That changed my problem. Okay, so here's the easiest way to look at this. If I look at my left side, the left side had an x plus 1 in the denominator. What's the new part of my denominator? Then that also has to go in the numerator. So in the numerator, we'll have to have an x minus 1. It does cancel out. That's the whole purpose of it. I can put anything into a problem to change it as long as it's same over same, because what does this actually equal? 1. And if I multiply by 1, am I really changing my problem? No. Okay. So let's go look at the right fraction. I started with an x minus 1. My denominator now includes an x plus 1. So on the top, I also have to include an x plus 1. So now, are my denominators the same? Yes. So now I can distribute. I will have a 3x minus 3. And since this is a plus sign, my sign doesn't have to change. So then I will have a plus 5x plus 5 all over my denominator of x plus 1, x minus 1. So 3x plus 5x is 8x plus 2 over my denominator of x plus 1, x minus 1. What can I factor out of the numerator? A 2. So that would be a 2 for x plus 1 over x plus 1, x minus 1. Can anything cancel out? Then that's my answer. Okay. So you have to figure out how I can get a common denominator, and the more you do it, the easier it becomes, because you will just be able to look at a problem and see what that denominator is. So let's go to example number 5. I took too much space on there. So example number 5. Example number 5 says x over x plus 3 minus a big 1. How can I write a big 1 as a fraction? 1 over 1. Okay. So I have a denominator of x plus 3, and I have a denominator of 1. Does a denominator of 1 change anything? No. So what will their common denominator be? X plus 3. So I'm going to have a common denominator of x plus 3. That I know. So just to keep consistent, I know I'm going to have a common denominator of x plus 3. So looking at the left side, did anything in my denominator change? No, so it stays just what it was. My right side, what's new in my denominator? Then I have to have that in the numerator. Whatever's new in the denominator has to move to the numerator, okay? So now, are my denominators the same? Yes, so you can make one big fraction because you have a common denominator. Be careful what happens with that negative sign. It has to distribute, or you can write it like this first before you distribute. So then it's going to say x minus 3 all over x plus 3. X minus x is 0. So I have negative 3 over x plus 3. Can my 3's cancel? Why not? Because one of them's connected to an x. Okay, so because it's connected to an x, it cannot cancel. Okay. Let's go try number 6. So nobody say it out loud. Give everybody a chance to see if you can find what the common denominator is. So I have y plus 2 over 4y plus 16 minus 2 over y squared plus 4y. Boys, be quiet, please. Can I find a common denominator right now? No. Why can I not find a common denominator? I got a factor, simplify. So everybody go simplify your 2 denominators here. Once you get your common denominators, see if you can find, or excuse me, once you get your simplified denominators, see if you can find your common denominator. Just try, okay? Try on your own to find your common denominator. And then we'll talk about it and see what we get. Does anybody think they know the common denominator? What do you think, Joshua?
Is it 4y plus 4?
Yes. Okay, so here's how. Look how you can kind of see this, okay? So you see how I wrote, all I did is I wrote the same problem again, okay? Start on the left. My left denominator has a 4. Does my right denominator have a 4? Well, it's going to have to. So now they both have a 4, okay? My left denominator has a y plus 4. Does the right denominator have a y plus 4? Okay, so that part's good. They both have it, right? So now let's check the right side. The right side has a y. Does the left side have a y? So I have to add it, okay? So it is going to also have a y. I'm going to erase this so I can make it look pretty. So 4y, y plus 4. So now are they the same? Yes. So now we have to doctor our numerator. So the top already had a y plus 2. And if I look just at the left, what is new in the denominator? Then where else does it have to go? On the top. So I'm going to put the y on top as well. Let's go look to the right one. Yes, ma'am. I like to keep stuff in parentheses because it shows me it has to stay together. Okay. If not, if you don't put it there, then you're probably more than likely to put a plus sign in front of it instead of a multiply. Okay. All right. My right side, what is new in my denominator? So that has to go in my numerator. So 2, and then I'm putting in my 4. So if I were to distribute this, I would have y squared plus 2y minus 8. Where did my minus 8 come from? 2 times 4, and it has a minus over the denominator of 4y, y plus 4. What can I do to the numerator? I can factor it. So I'll get y plus 4, y minus 2, all over 4y of y plus 4. What do I notice can happen now? I can cancel out my y plus 4. So left over, I have y plus, y minus 2. All over 4y. Can my y's cancel? No. Can my 2 and 4 become a 1/2? No. Okay, nothing can change if it's held together by an addition or subtraction sign. Are we kind of seeing how to get a new denominator? Okay, let's try one more. Okay, I'm gonna flip my paper. Number 7, and then you're gonna try some on your own with a partner, whatever you please, as long as you're practicing. So I have x squared minus 2 all over 2x squared minus x minus 3. Oh, this one's gross. Okay. All right, so I have to go simplify my denominators. So the left side, what are you going to have to do? Slide and divide. Go slide and divide your left side and get me a new denominator. So everybody should be sliding and dividing, hopefully not just copying. Or you can use this guess and check method. Okay, so once I have these 2 denominators, everybody have these 2 denominators? I need to find a common denominator. So what does the first side have that the second one doesn't? An x plus 1. So I know that the second side has to get an x plus 1. And if I add it in the denominator, where else do I have to add it? In the numerator. Does the right side have anything the left side doesn't? So do I have a common denominator? Yes. So now this is exactly like yesterday. So I have x squared minus 2. Then I'm going to have a plus 2x plus 2 minus x squared minus x. Where did I get all that from? I foiled. I distribute my 2 parentheses all over my denominator. Okay. So now I have x squared minus x squared, that's 0. I have a negative 2 plus 2, that's a 0. And then I have a 2x minus x, which would just give me x all over my denominator. Can anything cancel out? So this would be my answer. If you choose not to show me your work, number 1, your answer will probably only be worth 1 or 2 points on your test next week. So we will be grading your work, and can you show me how you get to this answer? So mental math, sure, but if you mess up, you're not getting any credit for messing up, okay? You have 10 problems on the next page. I will put the answer key up on the front desk if I have one. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I didn't make an answer key. Let me see if I have one. There is, it's just not on Schoology. I need to put it in Schoology. I will scan it in. Yes, she has an answer key. I will put it on the front desk. I don't like to read with her.